Hi, this is Raj, CEO from Raj Hospitality Management, HI, Hospitality Influencers. I'm sure you're enjoying all those legends who are talking to you every Sunday. Now we are made from this week onwards every Sunday, otherwise it was earlier Saturdays and Sunday. We want more viewers to come and see and understand about the present trend, and also it's definitely a lot of motivation from when these such legends when they speak to all of you. It's a great pleasure to have Mr. Sanjar Imam on board today. Mr. Sanjar Imam, a friend from last 2 decades, who has been in the hospitality industry definitely from last 3 decades, 30 years. I remember when he was the business head. I think he was a business head for one of the most dynamic destination management company, which was managing India and in international level. He was heading, in fact, that destination management company for almost 14 years, if I'm not mistaken. And then he started his own company, which is called Panache World. He's in Bangalore. Very dynamic guy. A lot of activities he does as far as the Karnataka Tourism Forum is concerned. He's a very good speaker, a great guy, a great friend too. And he does a lot of care, and his knowledge on the international tours are really, really remarkable. I'm sure he himself have, personally gone and seen the destination. I think his company at the moment does almost 80, 85 the countries, the kind of, what do you call that? They have packages around all the world. So it's going to be a treat to watch him again, Sanjar Imam, my friend, and have a wonderful day today.
Hello everyone. I'm thankful to Raj and for HI, Hospitality Influencers, for this opportunity to be with you all and share some of my thoughts with you. My name is Sanjar Imam and I'm the founder director of a travel company called Panache World. It's a boutique stylized company based in Bangalore, which I founded in 2001. And before that, I spent 14 years with a leading DMC in India. The world has changed, if you consider this a change, it has changed a huge lot from the time that I entered the industry, which was almost 33 years ago now. I'm talking about an era where there were no mobile phones, there was no online connectivity. We would, communicate through what was called the telex, which was a typewriter kind of device, and you would type stuff and it would get relayed and printed on a paper the other side. And that was our means of communication, besides, of course, the traditional post. So imagine if you had a hotel booking, you would actually write or type a letter, which would be carbon copied in quadruple, and you would mail it to another city. It would take 2 days to reach. They would acknowledge it, they would confirm the booking and send you a confirmation by mail. So just to confirm a hotel booking would involve 4 or 5 days. Calling was expensive. There was telephone, but it was expensive. So from there on, there was an advent of fax, which was amazing. It was a brilliant piece of discovery. And then came, of course, internet and all the online connectivity. My kids, I have 2 boys, they grew up and they don't know what internet is. They don't know what life without internet was, They grew up in it. But I've seen that transformation. And it's been brilliant. It's been an amazing journey. So after having spent 14 years working with this DMC, where I was heading operations for India and then later got into business development, one fine day it was just done. I had reached the highest level that I could in the company, and that was a time when I looked back and said, where have all these years gone? 14 years just went by. I did not even consider switching jobs because within the company that I was working with, I was getting new assignments every year. I was getting promoted each year. They were paying me more than I could spend. Uh, and it was terrific. It was just one long home run. And then when I look back, I, ask myself, so where did this whole thing start? And I think that's what I want to really talk about. What is the real purpose of what you want to do in life? That's important. For me, I wanted to travel and learn. And I wanted to do that because, I went to college, but the college didn't teach me what I wanted to learn. There were no professional, really good travel and tourism courses, um, or about world history, they weren't. And that's what I wanted to do. And that's why I decided that I would get into the travel business so that I can learn. And that's what I've been doing, and that hasn't stopped in all these years. I'm still a student, still learning, still trying to understand, and still trying to share my knowledge that I've gained. So, coming back to the story, I went back to the purpose and I said, that's the real purpose. I wanted to learn, and now it was time for me to share. And that's when I founded Panache World. And the idea behind setting it up was very simple. The Indian economy had just been liberalized, and I'm talking 91, 92. And, people had started, prior to that, I must say that, the allowance, the foreign exchange allowance to travel abroad was a mere $500. That's all a person could purchase legally and travel. And you can imagine what $500 would fetch. Not much. They liberalized it, they made it $2,000. And that's when outbound opened. And this is mid 90s. I remember that time because before that, and all of what I did in my years of employment was inbound travel. That's the only kind of travel we knew. There was no domestic, there was no outbound travel. It was just inbound travel, and we would have clients coming in from UK, from other parts of Europe, from United States, and we would just handle them here in India. So we were pretty much ground operators in India. Now outbound opened up the whole world for Indians. But that was still to come of age. It was just an idea at that time. So when I set up the company, my idea was to give Indians India the way we would give it to foreigners. So I'm talking about service levels, I'm talking about the kind of hotels that foreigners would stay. Because before that, there was dual currency. So there was a different currency for foreigners and a different one for Indians. And that was later just made unilateral for one. And it just struck me that if Indians are going to pay the same, why should they not get the same sort of service? So when Panache World started, it was about giving India to Indians with the highest standard of service and the kind of product that we would give to foreigners. It was those very clients who a couple of years down the line said, hey, you organized that trip for us to Rajasthan. We are now thinking of going to Singapore. Would you please plan it for us? And we had no idea. We did not know outbound. We did not know Singapore or anywhere else for that matter. And there were two choices for us. We said either we can let it go or we can educate ourselves. So it was back to that education game all over again. We learned about the destination. We traveled to the destination. Today, We do over 80 countries across the world. And in the 19 years that Panache has been in existence, I personally have been to over 50. And the idea has remained the same: learn and then pass on that learning to keen travelers, to people who are interested, who, who really want to experience. There was a time when there was new money in India and people just wanted the best in terms of, and the best meant expensive. So it was, and they call that luxury. So it was expensive hotels, it was expensive cars, it was expensive helicopter trips. We did all that, and we realized that India was waking up. Indians were raring to go. But the same clients, once they did those initial trips, they realized that it was beyond that. It was about becoming one with the culture, with the destination, with the people, with and letting a bit of serendipity come into the whole thing, because not everything should be planned. I always say when a client is traveling, I say plan 4 days for Rome. For 3 days, have activities, and let the fourth day be. Let Rome happen to you instead. You know, it's one of the best experiences to just go and sit in a cafe and watch the world go by. And those kind of things. And of course, we built in a lot of experiences because it's all about that now. And that's the true luxury. It's not about what your money can buy, it's more about trying to get real. It's about going, letting the destination transform you in a certain way. And then you come back home and you try and change the environment around you, thereby bringing about a change. You bring in positives from other destinations, positives that you learn, and you try and change the environment around you. It is the true essence of travel. It's what travel is now getting to. Of course, it wasn't then, but that's where we're headed. And now, of course, because we did not plan our growth in this world, we just were either careless and perhaps did not think that we could face a crisis of this magnitude. We are in a lockdown, and this is our doing in a way. It's not that we were not warned that this could happen, we just didn't take it seriously enough. So, what's going to happen from here on? People are talking about all kinds of disaster and how, everything's going to come to a standstill, has in a way, but more so, that how things will not get back to the normal. I have a slightly different view. It will get back to normal. It won't be as dramatic a change. There will be some changes for sure, but not as dramatic a change as people are thinking. And that comes from a bit of experience of having been in business, let's say when 9/11 happened. Americans, everyone said people wouldn't fly. Americans would never leave the country because they were so scared, and rightly so. But what happened thereafter? 6 months, they were back on the planes. They were flying. So now, of course, we have COVID, and we are reluctantly trying to accept it and saying that this is going to be a part of our lives. It will. It will be there for a couple of years, and then it'll go, because if you look at the coronaviruses that we've had in the past, be it SARS or MERS, they've had a lifeline and they have disappeared. They don't live on forever. Neither will this. There will be changes, hopefully positive ones, and hopefully where we as human beings become more responsible and we start caring. Those are important learnings if we can take from this experience. And we will get back to business. We need to. I mean, human beings are far more intelligent and clever. We will beat COVID and get on. The vaccine will come. We'll find ways to get around it. We'll get more careful. But we will get back to business. And travel will be back again with a bang. And when it does, it'll boom. I'm pretty certain of that. Time, of course, will tell, but that's my conviction. However, crises like these teach us lessons. And the lesson is to keep rebooting in life every few years, even every year, to think, what are we doing here? If we are in the travel business, we should be thinking, is this the kind of travel that we want to promote? Can we make it better? Can we make it a more enriching experience? That's really the essence of it all. And of course, life teaches you. You have to be a keen learner. That is very important. That is, you've got to have that hunger to learn, and you will do well. That hunger should always be there in everything that you do, every single thing that you do, whether it's writing an email, whether it's listening to somebody, whether it is putting a thought to an itinerary. Anything that you do should have a purpose, should have reasoning, and you should give it your very best. That, if we do it constantly, we will do well in life. And that's the message that I'd like to share with you. Keep that hunger and excel at every single thing that you do, every small thing that you do. Every small thing matters, it gets noticed. People may not react immediately, but it does get noticed. Every good thing does. With that, I thank all of you for patiently having listened to me for all this while. And I thank Raj and Hospitality Influencers again for this opportunity. Thank you.